As many of you know by now, James Gunn's upcoming Superman film, scheduled to drop this summer, is being followed with some controversy. I think it's fair to say that it's definitely extremely divisive right now. Here is what I have gathered regarding all the controversy surrounding James Gunn's Superman film. You have people that like the suit, and then you have people that don't like the suit. And then you always have that middle ground. Some are indifferent. This is something that, regardless to how you feel about it, how trash you think it is, how amazing you think it is, this will always be subjective, and the emotion and opinions towards it lie with the eyes of the beholder. That is just a fact. And the same way, some people are disgusted with the suit. You have people that feel the same way about the trailers that have dropped, and the sneak peek, and the elements inside them. Which again, you have a right to feel how you feel. And you are justified in how you interpret something. How something resonates with you isn't going to resonate the same way with everyone else. With that being said, for the people that are enraged or very disappointed with the trailers themselves, I ask you, have you also considered that we are all watching a brief moment of something with absolutely no context about what's going on? Some people have come to absolutely concrete conclusions about the film or about parts of the trailers, and in part have made concrete decisions to not go watch the movie at all, when in fact they have no context or idea about why these decisions were made and all the components and events that are a part of what they are seeing. It is only a trailer. It is only a sneak peek, a very small moment of something that is much, much larger. I always tell people, at least wait for the film to release and at least see what the reviews say before you make a decision like that. If you don't want to watch the movie, see what other people are saying about the movie after it released. Then, based on the general response from the critics and audience goers, people that actually watched the film, then maybe you will have a better idea of if it's worth your money and your time. I mean, how many great movies have had disliked trailers? How many horrible movies had great trailers? The trailers are not always indicative of how generally well received or disliked a movie will be. I also wonder how many people objectively thought of possible reasons why a particular thing in the trailer is the way it is. Or have you just let your initial emotions charge your decision making and final conclusion? For some people, such thought processes can take time. Others can process things at lightning speeds. For me, it's relative. I've also seen a lot of people making comments like, well, it wasn't like this in the comics, and it wasn't like that in the comics, and it didn't happen like that or like this. People forget that the comic book movies are often telling their own story. These movies are often taking inspiration from comics and selectively using parts to tell this new story in this movie. Many of these movies are taking different bits of inspiration from various different comic books spanning various different decades as well. These movies are not going to hit every single beat, strum every single chord one-to-one from a specific comic book. You have to look at these movies like they are sometimes a new comic book, but just presented to us in the form of video media. A different medium for a different story. I also believe that there are some things that are so vital and so important to the lore that it's probably not wise for them to drastically change it. Something that completely compromises the character and its history. At the end of the day, the idea is still to pay homage and celebrate these characters appropriately. I want to take a second and look at some examples of things that people had issues with, specifically in the recent sneak peek that dropped just a few days ago. Many people are upset about the Crypto scene. Crypto approaching Superman playfully and hopping on him before dragging Supes off to the Fortress of Solitude.
Stop! No! Crypto!
I have read comments and watched many content creators to get a pulse as to what the supporters and detractors are saying. Some people are like, a dog wouldn't do that if their owner was hurt. They would immediately recognize that this is not a playful situation. Sorry to tell you, that is just wrong. Are you going to put a very specific scenario-based blanket personality trait over every single dog? Every single dog would react to that situation exactly the same. That is what you're telling me. Do you know how crazy that sounds?
Come on, Bruce, you gotta work with me.
I have had 3 dogs in my time, and there were times where I played hurt or played like I was in danger to see how they would react. And I can tell you this, they all acted differently. The youngest one, her name was Martini. She acted just like Crypto, always thinking it's playtime. I had another one named Cashmere, who just sat there looking confused, cautiously approaching the situation. And then I had another one named Basil, who was all about the smoke. Other people were saying Crypto's too intelligent. He's a hyper-intelligent dog in the comics. He wouldn't act like this. Crypto still might be an intelligent dog, but in this story, he may clearly still have some animalistic traits and inherit some behavioral ones known to some dogs as we know them. For all we know, Crypto probably has his own story arc and developmental path that we will eventually embark on. Again, I'm not saying I'm right or wrong here. It's me being open to many different possibilities and being open-minded until I see the movie to get the full picture and the truth. It is merely my hypothesis, but understanding it's based off little to no context. Another gripe is people are upset that Crypto jumping on Superman could hurt him, and people are upset how Superman was screaming in pain.
Stop.
They're like, Superman wouldn't scream like that. Crypto couldn't hurt Superman. He's Superman. Folks, can you not see that Superman is completely fucked up right now?
Say what?
Now, we don't know what happened, who did what, but clearly this dude is broken. He has just got his ass kicked, as it appears. He is clearly in a world of pain. Superman can't even get up off the ground. He's been compromised. Of course, a superpowered dog jumping on him in his current condition is going to inflict pain. And is Superman too man enough to show pain in front of his own dog? Again, I'm not saying I'm right or I'm wrong. It's me being open to many different possibilities and being open-minded until I see the movie to get the full picture and get the truth. It is merely a hypothesis, but understanding it's based off little to no context. Another gripe is the scene regarding Superman's, for lack of a better word, servants in the Fortress of Solitude. Specifically, what seems to be contradicting interactions between two of the robots with regard to Superman.
Thank you.
No need to thank us, sir, as we will not appreciate it. We have no consciousness whatsoever, merely automatons here to serve. Meet 12. She's new.
He looked at me.
One saying it has no emotions, it's simply there to be tasked and to aid Superman, while the other one clearly shows emotion towards Superman, glancing in her direction. Even I initially was like, well, that doesn't make sense. And I stewed on it for about a day or two and figured there is probably more to these robots. Possibly.
The Transformers, more than meets the eye.
Maybe number 4 is an older model and number 12 is a more advanced model, capable of understanding or sharing emotions. But he did say we and not I. Keep that in mind. Maybe some of these robots have evolved after observing human interactions from afar or just with Superman. Maybe there is no pure emotions at its core, but it's simply playing back a stored emote given the observed event. Essentially programming telling it this is the response. A good example of this is a child playing a basic math tutor game on a computer. And the child gets the question right. And a smiley face pops up, very excited and showing emotion for the correct answer. But we all know it doesn't have any emotion. It's a computer program. These are just some possible explanations and scenarios I thought of, and I'm sure there could be plenty more people have thought about. And I shall repeat, again, I'm not saying I'm right or wrong. It's me being open to many different possibilities and being open-minded until I see the full movie to get the full picture and the truth. It is merely a hypothesis, but understanding it's based off little to no context. Another gripe people have is Superman screaming in pain while being regenerated in the Fortress of Solitude as the solar beam makes contact with him.
14 fractured bones.
Damage to bladder, kidney, large intestine, lungs.
With a healthy dose of yellow sun, we'll have you up and at 'em in no time.
Level 4?
292 times Saharan Prime, please, one.
Now, I said when I reacted to the trailer that I have never seen in any Superman form of media Superman reacting that way to healing. But I also thought about it and said, you know what? Logically, that does make a lot of sense, actually. The natural healing process of the body is something that happens slowly over time, depending on the injury, of course. And I even consider that Superman probably has faster healing properties than regular humans. That also makes sense. The point is, an extreme accelerated healing and regeneration to your internal organs and or bones probably does not feel good at all. Imagine your innards shifting, then shifting back in place, reconnecting, all while the blood is still trying to flow to its designated places, and parts are trying to continue to function or start functioning again. That has got to be painful. I mean, think about it. And if I am correct, and this is in fact the reason why Superman was screaming, maybe Gunn might be the first person to make logical sense of this process of accelerated healing. Also, the beam itself could be so concentrated that it may hurt for the greater good. Not every medical process we go through is pain-free. And these are their Kryptonian medical equipment, supercharged for a super being. And I say again, I'm not saying I'm right or I'm wrong. It's me being open-minded to many different possibilities. Open-minded until I see the movie to get the full picture and the full truth. It is merely a hypothesis, but understanding it's based off little to no context. Last but not least, of course, you have the Snyder cult. And it simply does not matter what this movie does, exceptionally great or bad, they will hate this movie regardless. And they will never give this movie a chance. It doesn't matter. But I'm going to address the Snyder cult in a different video here soon. But that's all I got to say about it. That's a wrap for today's episode. I appreciate each and every one of you for stepping in, showing your love, showing your support, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Now I could sit here and smack you all around with the generic like, comment, subscribe BS, but nobody gives a damn about that. So do whatever the hell you want to do, because you're going to do it anyway. Now, I'm going to give you, to the count of 10, to get your ugly, yellow, no good keister off my property before I pump your guts full of lead. I am Boo, and I am out.
Keep the change, you filthy animal.